of reason. And because, in his illustrious career, yes, to be clear, he started theater, TV, film. If you were back before he really got to be well known as a voice actor, you would have seen him on Bones and blah 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 and all the TV series because he did a lot of guest star stuff. So I want to say that because I want to be clear that his perspective isn't just like me talking to a guy that does voiceovers. But let's go to voiceover and say that one, he's the voice of Spike the dog and Tom and Jerry. If you go to and play any video game, or I should say pinball machines or whatever, there's a good chance that he might be the person, the Decepticon or something like that, taking you down in the game or giving you the credit, popping credit on the end of the machine, whatever. He has done quite a lot. So today I wanted to kind of focus this more towards voiceover. And again, as we talked last time, I say BC, before COVID, it was a whole different world for us as actors or voiceover people or commercials, theatrical, theater. Everything was different. And now it's different because we have a different set of tools that we're using. And we're able to utilize some of those tools to help. And that's where I came up with the new site that you're probably looking at now, which is my auditionai.com, where I put together a lot of tools from an actor getting a scene that's sent to them by their casting director, an agent, whoever, a director, saying, please do this. From that, and then analyzing it, and then from there, putting it in a teleprompter, having AI readers with you, to analyzing all of this stuff and really getting confidence. And really, the platform that I put together helped you really kind of become a better actor because you're constantly playing with analyzing scenes and monologues and whatever. So anyway, check it out, myauditionai.com. But one of the subjects that we will talk about a lot is voiceover, because a lot has happened with voiceover more than film. I mean, voiceover, and I know Rick will attest to this, almost, in my opinion, went overnight from like we're sitting in our closets, making sure that we can do our voiceovers and get a good clean read, as opposed to 20 years ago spending $20,000-$30,000 to design your own studio, to now going on to Amazon and grabbing a microphone and a couple other things and sitting in your room or your closet. As I make my joke, my wife would come in and go, hey, Will, get out of the closet. Anyway, it has changed, hasn't it?
Oh, enormously. Technology keeps improving. In the old days, the thought of buying a pro level mic and then soundproofing your whole house and giving your dog away so it wouldn't make any extraneous noise. Things have changed quite a bit. You can have a home setup that is really broadcast ready for far less effort and money than you used to have to do. Microphones have come a long way. I always advise students to put their efforts in their environment even more than the microphone. You can get a modest microphone that sounds great, but make sure you're in a room that has some sound dampening, be it, like sound blankets or moving blankets, or stick your head in a closet, there you go. But there is so much more you can do. It used to be, let's just get your game up to audition quality, which quite frankly could be your phone. I was running to a gig yesterday, and on my way to the gig, there was a rush audition. I had to pull over to a shady street in on a hot day in the valley.
Been there, done that, yeah.
And, do it on my phone. I did it, recorded it. I did one take. I sent it. Within 5 minutes, I got a response. Rick, this sounds great. Thanks so much for being so quick and on it. So the turnaround is changing as well. There used to be, hey, come in maybe next Tuesday for a live audition in the office, and we got a 5-minute slot for you. Now it's like, can you get this to me 10 minutes ago? So the industry has changed, not just in the equipment and the ease of getting that equipment, but the turnaround is becoming, a big deal. So
Yeah,
that's another big change.
let's take this apart. You talked about technology and pulling over. I remember once we did a little bit. We were trying to do something, and I had you get in the back of the back seat, and we covered you with a blanket.
Yeah,
You were, I think you lost 10 pounds on that shoot,
that's
and
great. Yeah, it's a good shoot for me.
that was a good shit for you. And we did a lot, but here's what I want to say. Within the last even year, I remember I used to do, and it had apps to do my voiceover auditions, like voices.com or whatever. And I would do them and go, yeah, that's okay, but it's not my Shure SM7B. But now, very surprisingly, like right now, you sound tremendously amazing.
Oh, I
And
thank
I,
you, Will.
yeah,
You
I mean, you
sound
really do.
windy. It
Thank,
sounds,
oh,
is it windy? Is there a little breeze where you are?
why are you messing with me? I'm wearing headsets, which I
Your
don't normally
shirt's like,
do.
no, there's no wind at all. I
What
hear
are you
nothing.
talking? I'm
Uh,
like Snoopy with the scarf in the back.
no, but
Um,
mics
but
have come a long way. Phone mics are amazing. And I think also, I just want to interject this thought. I'm a casting director, and the people in my camp are getting a little bit more forgiving. It's like, I feel
yeah,
like I'm going to throw a word out there that might be unkind, but there was a little bit of snobbiness out there. Like, well, if you're not doing it on a really good mic and you don't sound like pristine like
and you're not
broadcast,
a pro.
I kind of feel like, hey, as a casting director, there are two things I'm looking for: your basic voice print and your attack on the material analytically. And
Yeah,
then I was like, I can get you in a studio if your home quality is not good enough.
right.
You look, when you show up to the, whether it's an on set or in a studio for a voiceover job, um, you're there to do the job. When you're auditioning, you're there to get the job.
Right. Yeah.
It's very important to distinguish between those things. I'm here just to get the job. So I want to make sure that they can hear my attack on that piece of
Well,
writing and my basic voice print. So if I'm doing it here on my phone, yeah, I'm on Burbank Boulevard or whatever, they're going to have to be forgiving. And I feel like there is a little bit of forgiveness going, hey, we could hear the basic sound of his voice. I could hear your voice perfectly well, even if it's a
the
little bit,
read.
windy there. And the reality is, then if you are booked on the job, then we'll either do a full test.
Accommodate. Yeah.
Every time I do a job and I want to record it from my own booth, the day before or 2 days before, we have to do a sound check with the studio. It's a
Yeah.
15-minute block where they say, scream, whisper, clap your hands. Okay, then you pass our test. And if you don't
Yeah.
pass the test, you got to come into the studio. It's
Yeah.
fine, but you're
Yeah.
there to
So,
get to the job. Go ahead.
yeah, you are. No, no, no. I love all that take apart. Now, one thing I want to say is remember back, I want to say during COVID, but I'm not sure if it was because of COVID or they wanted a certain quality. Remember how they sent you the whole kit
Yeah.
with their laptop? Is that
Yes.
still happening?
No.
Yeah.
When COVID was happening, they didn't always trust that people had the right equipment. They had to trust that they had, you know, a good internet speed that wasn't going to be interrupted or go down.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons they did that is, especially, it was done a lot with dubbing, because they wanted to make sure all the actors, if not in the same environment, were at least on the same mic. So they would send typically
Yeah.
the Sennheiser 416. There's a
Yeah.
specific
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
mic, the shotgun mic. And so they can, in post-production, jockey with some of the size of the room. But if two people are meant to sound like they're in a room talking, the very least they could do is put everybody on the same microphone. So they had these little suitcase kits where they would drop to your door.
Yeah.
Someone with gloves would drop it off at the door, and then you'd wait till they leave, then you'd go get it, you'd wipe it down, you'd hose it down in a hazmat suit, and
Oh,
there'd be very
right.
explicit instructions. Sometimes you open the suitcase like you're in a spy movie, and you don't take anything out except the microphone. There's like the foam with the iPad. You just
Yeah.
lift the
Yeah.
lid and you just hit this button with a
Test
red
the record.
arrow on it,
Yeah.
and they'd pop up magically and they would direct you through it. Those days are really gone. I mean, sorry to say, COVID waffles back and forth in our existence, but
Yeah.
people now have either a home setup or the studios have, completely opened wide again. They're all open for
Right.
business. So again, there are many jobs which they're happy to have you do at home if it's going to save them some studio dollars, but all the studios are back in business, and you'll go in studio if you don't have a home setup.
The other part about this, and I use this analogy about film, and how I used to work for Fox Kids and CBS as a reporter, feature reporter. And I remember when Blair Witch came out, and when Blair Witch came out, I just looked at everybody in the news department and said, "It's different now." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I go, "Now you can shoot movies through your underwear and it won't matter." And why I'm bringing that up again is because, and I feel the wind is huge here, and I'm like, gonna have. And by the way, I'm going to tell you a tip on how I'm going to get rid of that, and it's AI. But
Wow.
the point is that I said that back then, and now with AI, it's changed because look, if you're first of all, the quality on my iPhone 16 Pro Max that I can record, even on what I don't know what you have, is so far different that you can go into your back seat or your car, do a recording, and honestly, it's not going to sound a tremendous difference between that and me sitting in my studio. And if by chance you happen to have a glitch or something, or it doesn't sound right, podcast.ai, podcastle.ai is the one where I can take it and push it through there, and it's going to take out all this noise. And
Wow.
why that's important, and again, I'm bringing the AI, lights, camera, AI, into the equation is that people like you and me and actors and voiceover people, they don't have to jump through all the hoops because one, the industry has said, we understand. We would
Analogous to the microphones in phones, look at the lenses on phones. I mean, people are doing self-tapes. All
Yeah.
the people who are watching this likely are also on camera actors. Many of you are. And so you're doing self-tapes at home with, a little ring light or an incandescent light or just natural light, and your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever, it looks pretty good. You couldn't do that
Yeah.
10 years ago. The lenses were like, hey, I got the
Yeah.
2.1 megapixel. What do
Yeah.
I look like? What do I even look like? So
Yeah.
you have very high quality stuff. People who want to do self tapes or shoot a short film. There was that great campaign that iPhone had with huge billboards. This was shot on an iPhone, or the videos. This was
Yeah.
shot on an iPhone. It is staggering and impressive, and it puts a lot of power literally in our fingers.
Yeah, but let me throw something at you. I saw yesterday, I can't remember her name. I've interviewed her on the show before. She's out of Atlanta, really well-known casting director, Rihanna or something like that. And this blew my mind. And I say this because I think that actors can benefit from this and what we're saying. And here it is. She gets on her Instagram. She goes, "I want you all to see this audition." She goes, "I love this show. I helped cast it. I think the actors are all brilliant." And she goes, "But watch this audition." She shows an audition of a girl on a floor, no background. It was somewhere in her house, laying on the ground. And she starts off the scene and she says, "Do you know what I love about this? A couple of things. Number one, I love the fact that she doesn't have a background, that she's not putting a background like a photographer's background. I love that I can see her floor. I love the texture." And I'm over here going, "What the are you talking about? Wait a minute. I thought we had rules." And she goes, "What I like about this is she went against the rules." And she said she got the role. And what I love about it the most is she did like 5 to 10 seconds in the beginning of nothing to do with the lines. She set it up by going, "Oh," and then she said her line. So why I'm saying this is stop coloring in the lines,
Yeah.
because our industry is not the same as it used to be. We can shoot stuff like this. There, I think they're showing that it can become a great product. Even voiceover work. I've done tons of voiceover stuff. ADR, I told you, I do it at home. I have
Yeah.
a Shure SM7B, which, by the way, if it was 10 years ago, I'd be looking for an RE20, because the RE20, 1,200, 1,500 bucks, it was the mic that we used in the radio business. But then this came along, and for $299, and they have a new a new Assure, that's the base model that you can plug in here with a USB-C into your computer, and it sounds like you're in a studio. your environment, like you said. So,
Yeah,
I mean, we're just there.
I agree. And, uh, you know, the landscape is changing so quickly post COVID with the encroaching AI, with so much is going on. There's a little bit of we're inventing the airplane while we're flying it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the rules are changing. It's like, oh, this happens. Oh, we can do this. So it used to be get a nondescript background and stand this far in front and frame yourself this way. And then someone said, well, that looks kind of sterile and packaged.
Stage.
And then someone sits on her
Stage. Yeah.
floor and says, fight the rules. Well, maybe that's the new rule. So then we have to fight. You know, I think a good message to people is when you're sending an audition in, you have to feel good about it.
Mm.
You know, you're the actor and you are meant to take command of these words, whether it's on camera or off camera voiceover. Um, I feel like industry standards are a little bit fuzzy on the edges. If you feel like your character or your persona wants to sit on the floor and pick at their toenails or whatever they want to do, then that's how you inhabit that moment. And
It's your
if you
commitment.
feel like, yeah, it's your commitment. So, you know, I've done all kinds of, you know, workshops and been on panels with different cast directors, and I hear conflicting information from people, which I think is good. I
Yeah.
think actors need to cut through the noise and figure out, I borrow this, I use this. You say never use a prop, you say always use your prop, you say fake the phone, you say use the phone. There's so much conflicting information out there. So
Yeah.
that's
You're
good.
right.
That
Yeah.
means you
It
get to
is good.
go, yeah, you know, my character actually uses an actual telephone in the
Yeah.
scene. Why don't I just use this
Right.
thing that I own? It's called a phone, and I
Yeah.
can hold it next to my head in the scene. So,
Yeah.
and others would say, no, no, give me the finger
Yeah.
thumb
But
thing.
see, I think what you're saying is extremely important coming from seasoned pros here is that, do what you feel comfortable with, but find a way to become noticed or remembered. And that's why I always say I do like a wild take where I'll do it in something totally different, like an Irish accent or something like that. And I'm very surprised that many, many times I've been actually hired, get booked on a film or a TV thing, and they go, we like that read. I'm like, oh, I just do that as a, they go, it's different than everybody else's, and we
Yeah,
like where you went with it. Okay, just because of time, I want to ask you one last question, and it is AI related, but and
sure.
I want to preface this question by saying that I'm asking you as a voiceover professional, but I want people to understand that this is Rick Zieff's opinion, and so and I say this because I would consider myself a pretty good source of knowledge on AI,
Yes,
chat prompting, and
yes.
so on, and
Check,
the
check,
business.
check.
Yeah, and the business. Now, where Rick, I love the back and forth tennis match with Rick is that Rick is one of my dear friends that he can turn a computer on and he knows how to work the basic things of it. But when it comes to this, like a lot of people in the industry, they're scared. So my question to you as a voiceover god guru, people look at, well, they look to you. Someone sends you an audition. Now I realize the level you're at, and I realize the level that a lot of people are at. But there is a medium here. Someone sends you an audition and says, I want you to read these 3 pages, and we're going to do something called voice printing. And in an AI, that means they're going to take your voice, they're going to basically have you read some things, find dynamics, see who you are, and then they're going to take that voice. Now they're going to give you $20,000 to use that voice, and they're going to use it in what's called perpetuity, or in basically forever, and take your voice. Now here's my question to you, Rick. Do you, number one, would that be something you're interested in? And also address it from a beginner standpoint. Are they, is it detrimental to their potential of being a voiceover artist? I'm not interested in what the average person is going to do because they, I think you said it earlier, they might want to go into plumbing or be an accountant or be the president of the United States. And someone told them that their voice, hey, you got a voice for radio. They may have said this and they're like, oh, I'm going to make a couple extra bucks. I'm not talking about those people.
Right.
What's your take on that type of situation?
Well, I'll speak for myself.
Good.
And I am first and foremost an artist. I'm a creative soul. I have to be a businessman to make a living with my art. I am not interested in someone waving some dollars at me to own my voice. There have been anecdotes, you have told me of some, where people signed away unknowingly literally the rights to their voice, much like a
Yeah.
musician signing
Anywhere,
their publishing rights to
forever.
all the music they wrote. They
Yeah.
don't even own their own music. And that is quite frightening,
Yeah.
because my, as you offered, rather meager understanding, but AI can capture your voice print in surprisingly little bit of dialogue and then get you to say anything.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a creative person. I'd rather be paid to say those things. Hire me and I will say those things. So uh, I choose not to be scared by those things. I just choose to turn those things down. And especially to a younger actor who has a much longer career ahead of them, um, I don't know why you would want to sign away your voice or your likeness to anybody. Look up the word perpetuity. That's a freaking long time. It's forever. And
It's forever.
so it's a scary thing. Um, uh, AI is a very powerful tool, and in the right hands and the right uses can help you polish up a script, help you learn an accent, help you rewrite things. There's a lot I have to say about AI, but read your contracts or have your representatives or an attorney read your contracts, because there are anecdotes where people said, I'll take this job, and then they were
Yeah.
handcuffed to that uh, producing entity forever. And
Yeah.
that's sobering.
And that's what I told you about that my story about the guy who had a film with Paramount or whatever, and 2 months before he was shooting, they said to the agent, "Sorry, we can't use John." I said, "Why not?" They said, "Well, because apparently down the road before this, he did a voiceover thing. He laid down tracks for a thing in perpetuity, and now we love his look, but we can't use his voice because now he no longer owns it." And so you are absolutely correct. The advice you're giving is get it figured out. Even if you go on Chat GPT and you can't afford a lawyer, go figure out what these contracts mean, because it's extremely
Yeah.
important. The other thing I want to say off of what you said is that determine where you are in your career. I mean, look, if you feel as though you might benefit, you can make $10,000 to $20,000 and you're out of it, then fine. But the reality is that you want to make sure that you're not giving away something that you potentially could screw you in the future. The other thing about this is that I would say it's a little early in the game of AI to jump out there and go, I'll give them all my voice and let them take it. It's a little bit like a software update. You get a software update that's a beta, you know that you're going to have bugs, and you're the person they give it to work out the bugs. But you don't want to depend on that operating system, because it's going to morph and they're going to fix it. Same thing with this is that we don't know where it's going. I would say that down the road, in my opinion, it would be best to have a contract developed by the union or non-union that says that if you take my voice and you use it, you have to pay me every single time you use it. I
Right.
don't have a problem with that, as long as I'm
Right.
not doing Depends commercials.
Right. Well, it depends on where you are in your
Depends.
career. I kind of feel like that's already in play. The fear, of course, is piracy. That
Oh yeah.
the old expression, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. You may find out, oh, there's a commercial I have running for the Maryland lottery. I didn't do that. You have to go catch them and then go chase after your money if they steal your voice. So yes, trying to get ahead of it and saying you can have use of this voice, and we want to make sure we're bird dogging the use of it and making sure it's being tallied appropriately, and you're actually paid.
Yeah.
That's part of the fear. But AI, artificial intelligence, isn't AI actual intelligence.
No.
And I want everyone to leave this not being bewildered and afraid. Just remember that you, if you're watching this, you're actually intelligent.
Yeah.
And they're like,
And by the way, I'm going to throw this out to you that I already relabeled the subtitle of this Lights Camera AI, and I put it in some of my literature. We are literally actors AI. We're actors intelligence, and we're teaching them what you're saying.
well, that's so important. I'm glad you did that, because we still have an edge. We have humanity, we have color and soul and humor and pathos. They haven't bottled that yet.
No.
They can't replace what you do. All the people watching this right now likely are trained actors, and they can take words on a page and lift and breathe life into them and display them, whether on camera or off, in a way that computers can't yet. They can do narration, they can do medical training and this, industrial e-learning thing, great, but they're not bringing to the table what you all are bringing to the table. So
yeah, and the last thing I'll say as we close down today's show, the last thing I'll say is that again, I think it's really important for people to learn as much as they can. That's why we created this program, to give that information. But the other part about this is that I think it's really good for actors, because remember back in the day where all we did was show up to our agent's office, we did an audition, we would wait and go home and go like this. Well, now we are fully AI, everything are in charge really of our destiny. So if you make the choice to stay reluctant or complacent and not get in there and figure out what you can do with your product, then it's kind of your own fault. So I say to you, as we close the show, Rick Zieff, thanks for hanging out, Voice of Reason. We can catch him on, a lot of stuff going on. So give me a closeout.
Your closeout: AI aspiration equals inspiration.
Someone got a bumper sticker, maybe?
Stay inspired. Stay inspired. I mean, use it as a tool. Your site will up your audition game. You're there to get the job. When you're on set, you'll do the job.
That's the job.
Get the job. So you have to take your destiny in your hands and make the best audition you can. And that is analyzing the text with a little bit of guidance, with an excellent reader. If you haven't got one, it's all baked in. So you have got to get the job the best way you can. Stay inspired.
Yeah, I think I have to eliminate that sneeze. I sneezed. Anyway, Rick,
can we cut to a single on me for that particular moment?
I'm just going to AI. Don't worry. All right. Hey, Rick Zieff, thanks for hanging out with Rick Zieff, the Voice of Reason, the man, the myth, the legend. I love this man dearly. And we'll see you next time, probably next week. Will Roberts hang out with us again.